I am Steve. As a child, I yearned for the mines, but something always got in the way.
Go on! Get out of here!
After years of rumors, delays, and wild speculation, the Minecraft movie has finally happened. And it didn't come to play. But what exactly was this movie about, and who starred in it? What kind of cameos were there, and did it stay true to the game we love? Let's break it down today in my review of the Minecraft movie. Released on April 4th, 2025, the Minecraft movie is directed by Jared Hess, best known for Napoleon Dynamite. With Jason Momoa and Jack Black leading the cast, the film promised a unique blend of star power. A joint production between Warner Brothers and Mojang Studios, the movie has had a long journey since its initial announcement back in 2014. After cycling through multiple directors and script revisions, it finally landed on a vision that made it to the big screen. So what script did they end on? Well, coming from someone who saw the movie recently, let me give you the rundown. The story starts with a young boy named Steve yearning for the mines.
I am Steve. As a child, I yearned for the mines.
He grows up and has an epiphany that he can go to the mines himself now that he's an adult, and he finds some artifacts that open a portal to the overworld, taking him from real life to Minecraft. We follow his journey, including all the interesting shenanigans that he gets himself into, including finding his new companion Dennis and using the creative world of Minecraft to build anything his mind wants. Then, Steve comes across a ruined nether portal and decides to enter the nether, only to be greeted by the main antagonist of the film, Malgosha. He has the artifact on him, which Malgosha calls the Orb of Dominance. She attempts to steal it and use it to extract resources, most importantly gold, from the overworld. Steve gives the orb to Dennis, who runs to the overworld and brings it back to Steve's house in the real world, and hides it under his bed. This is where we meet the rest of the cast. Garrett Garrison, who is played by Jason Momoa, is introduced. He owns a retro game store and earned his fame in his younger years, being the best at Hunk City Rampage. His early fame slowly burns out and he attempts to keep his fame but loses it over time. He ends up at a storage unit auction and finds a unit with Steve's old belongings in it, and he ends up buying the unit expecting a big ticket item that isn't in the unit. However, the artifact is inside of the unit, which he takes home with him. On his way home, his car breaks down and we meet two more of the characters, Natalie and Henry, who are moving to the city of Chugless, Idaho, after something happened to their mom. They meet Dawn, their neighbor, who will act like a parent/friend to them. Henry goes to school and Natalie goes to work at the big industry of the area, the chip factory. As Henry is on his way to school, he stops at the game store owned by Garrett, and they meet, with Garrett offering to be Henry's mentor. At school, Henry ends up causing some chaos and needs a guardian to pick him up, so he calls Garrett to come pick him up. They end up figuring out what the artifact is and then accidentally activating it. They follow it into the mines. Natalie gets home, wondering where Henry is, and calls Dawn in a frenzy. They end up following his location to the abandoned mine that Steve also went missing in, where they end up finding Garrett and Henry in the cave, and they all see the portal, eventually ending up getting pulled into it. They all shoot out of the portal into the overworld. With no idea what's going on, Garrett tries to communicate with a sheep to get a quest. And in the nether, Malgosha releases Steve and tells him to go fetch the Orb of Dominance and bring it back for trade to get back his dog Dennis. The Misfits, Garrett, Dawn, Henry, and Natalie, all find out what the night has to bring, and Henry figures out that the world is easily destructible, breaking blocks and creating a safe haven from the skeletons, zombies, and even creepers. Garrett catches up with the original group after getting split apart during the night and grabs the orb that Henry dropped earlier, where he gets shot by a skeleton who hits the earth crystal on the outside of the orb, causing the portal to close on the real world due to the outside shell shattering. They end up getting saved by Steve after their tower gets overrun by zombies. Steve states that he needs the Orb of Dominance, and the group of misfits say they'll give it up if they can just get back home. Steve mentions that they need to travel to the Woodland Mansion to get another earth crystal, so they end up traveling to Midport Village, and Steve shows them around the village. When they get to Steve's secret stash, Steve shows Henry the ways of crafting, and both Henry and Garrett make unique items. The village is then attacked by Malgosha's army, attempting to get the Orb of Dominance from the group. The group splits in two, with Henry, Steve, and Garrett going one way, and Dawn and Natalie going another way. The boys end up flying through some canyons with some interesting shenanigans happening along the way, while getting chased by Malgosha's army. With the girls trying to navigate the forest trying to find the Woodland Mansion, they end up running into Dennis, who Dawn tames, and Dennis brings them to Steve. The boys raid the Woodland Mansion with a lot of eventful happenings. They get the crystal but are stopped by Malgosha outside the mansion, and she steals the Orb of Dominance and attempts to kill the boys. Steve and Henry successfully escape, and Garrett fights the army to let them escape. They end up crashing aghast into a tree and pass out, getting saved by Natalie and Dawn. Malgosha continues her plan and opens up the Nether portal and uses the Orb of Dominance to turn the overworld dark to allow her army to harvest the overworld's resources. Henry shares his master plan to save the overworld with a lot of resources, including a lot of diamonds and iron. They create their army of iron golems and deck Steve out in armor to fight Malgosha while the rest of the group fights with the iron golem army. While the fight is going on, Henry ender pearls up to the top of the Nether portal and attempts to shut down the Orb of Dominance to turn the overworld back to daylight. He gets knocked off and is saved by Garrett, who everyone thought was dead. They are flying on a ghast and they use the ghast fireballs to dislodge the Orb of Dominance. It's grabbed by a large piglin who is attacked by one of the iron golems, who ends up killing the piglin. The orb ends up in the hands of Natalie, and Malgosha and Steve share some words before Malgosha dies. The crew meet back up together at the portal back to the real world and decide to all go back, all having different paths in life after their adventure in Minecraft. I should also mention that during the entirety of the movie, Villager roamed from the overworld to the real world and is eventually hit by the principal of the school, who is played by Jennifer Coolidge, and they end up going on a date and end up getting together at the end of the movie. Don't ask me why, but they managed to put that in the Minecraft movie. Some blink and you'll miss it cameos scattered throughout the movie that Minecraft fans are going to love. During the big auction scene, we get some quick appearances from some of the most iconic Minecraft creators, including Dan TDM, Mumbo Jumbo, Aphmau, and LD Shadow Lady, who all make some cameos, which is such a cool nod to the community that built this game and has helped keep it alive for the last decade. One of the most heartfelt moments comes on early in the village introduction with a pig wearing a crown. Steve calls him a legend, which is a clear tribute to Technoblade. It's a simple but respectful gesture, and it hits hard for those who know what's going on. We even get a couple cameos from the Mojang team themselves. Jens Bergesten, also known as Jeb, the original creator and current chief creative officer of Minecraft, shows up as a waiter during Jennifer Coolidge's date with the villager. And later on, Mojang's creative director, Torfi Franz Olofsson, appears as a student in Natalie's self-defense class near the end of the film. It's a fun mix of creators, developers, and community legends all woven into the story. Fan reactions were absolutely wild, and only got more intense as the movie's release got closer, memes flooding the internet.
As a child, I yearned for the mines.
Over this water bucket! Release! Ever wonder what happens when you mix hot lava and chicken? I am Steve. Flint and steel.
The Nether.
An ender pearl. This is a crafting table.
They want me to fight the chicken?
Chicken jockey.
And the marketing team smartly tapping into them, growing the hype by dropping more and more teaser clips to keep that buzz alive. But with all that hype came a bit of chaos. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a grouch here, but the moment people started throwing stuff in theaters, that's where I kinda drew the line. Younger fans shared their reactions online, clapping during meme-worthy scenes, cheering during the big moments, and honestly, that energy can make the movie experience more fun. And in my experience, our movie experience was great. We had a lot of clapping, everything was really fun. But some took it too far, filming themselves throwing popcorn and drinks during the show. And while it may look funny online, in the moment, it kind of ruins the vibe for other people. I saw it firsthand when someone in my row got a full drink tossed on them from behind us, right at the end of the movie. Whether you loved it or hated it, the box office numbers speak for themselves. The film pulled in a staggering $163 million in its US and Canada debut during opening weekend, along with $150.7 million internationally. That makes it the highest grossing opening of the year so far, easily surpassing Captain America: Brave New World, which debuted at $80 million. It now ranks 21st among the best opening weekends of all time. As someone who's been playing Minecraft since the early days on my brother's computer, this movie hit a huge wave of nostalgia for me. Overall, I think it's a great film. Not a cinematic masterpiece, but definitely a fun and heartfelt tribute to the game so many of us grew up with. The movie does a fantastic job, weaving in references that longtime players will appreciate, while still offering a fresh storyline that keeps it from feeling like just another run-through of your old survival world. It gave me strong Minecraft Legend vibes, which might feel a little bit off for some of the Java Edition purists, but the world still felt authentic. The rendering nailed that perfect balance between Minecraft's blocky charm and a more cinematic, realistic style. Now, the plot does have its weak spots, but honestly, I wasn't expecting a flawless story going in. What really stood out to me were the nods to the core mechanics: redstone builds, automatic chicken cookers, the nether, villages, all of it kind of added to that charm. I would have loved to see something involving the end, or at least an explanation of how Steve ended up with an elytra, but I'm not going to overanalyze it. At the end of the day, I loved the movie for what it was, a nostalgic, fun ride. If you played Minecraft growing up, I definitely recommend giving it a watch, just to see the world you spent hours in brought to life on the big screen. So what do you think about the Minecraft movie? Have you seen it? Do you plan to see it? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Maybe subscribe to see more of my content in the future. Until then, we'll see you next time.